The two Mercedes discharged their showy cargo simultaneously. The men, both Japanese, both middle-aged, both dressed in expensive suits, paraded their gorgeous passengers from car to building. One of the women was Caucasian, with short blonde hair and blackless dress that dipped almost the curves of her high, heart-shaped ass. The other was Asian but not Japanese, a Korean angel, slender, elegant, and propped high on a 6-inch Manolo Blahnik heels. I had already started across the street when the Ferrari driver side swung open. I paused, surprised by the age of the Japanese man who stepped out on the sidewalk. He couldn't have been much older than me. His hair had streaks of blonde, his jacket was velvet, and he was wearing leather pants. He was obviously some famous because people on the sidewalk behind me started pointing and whispering. Before he had crossed to the other side of the car, the passenger door swung open and a dark-haired woman in a silver miniskirt leapt out. Her face was nordic, her eyes piercingly blue, her smile was right up a toothpaste commercial, sparkling white and little too white. She didn't wait for the hip young kid to let her up steps. She took them two at a time, and he had to jog to keep her up. The Elvis-style doorman barely got out of the way before she brushed past them into the building, the kid in the velvet jacket trailing behind him. The onlookers dispersed, and I continued across the street. I gave the Ferrari a wide berth as I headed towards the 4-story building. As I approached the two bumps, they moved as if to bodily block the door. One of them held both hands, palms up, waving them back and forth. I wasn't welcome. They didn't need to know who I was or why I was there. I had a white face, and I wasn't wearing a designer gown or high heels. John Malcolm gave me this address, I said, as the bouncer reluctantly lowered his hands. He looked at his colleagues, then nodded, stepping aside. The other held the door for me, bowing. I had used the magic word. The booth was tucked away in the corner of the third floor, separated from the rest of the club by a red velvet rope guarded by another Japanese Elvis wearing a zoot suit. The kid looked like he was 14, so I'm sure he was older, and I didn't like the way he kept looking at me. His dark eyes were full of suspicion. His lip curled down in distaste. I was the only Caucasian in this building, and obviously a VIP from the way I had been ushered to the private booth by the man who managed the place. But I wasn't Japanese, I wasn't regular, I certainly wasn't John Malcolm. I was just another gaijin trading on his name. And now I dip inside on the pearls of the Tokyo water trade. The term water trade, or mitsushobai, has both literal and figurative history, neither of which is particularly helpful in defining the modern evolution of the world's largest sex industry. As the story goes, in ancient times, adventurous men sailed the waterways of the island, buying and selling wares. Women seeking to liberate themselves from overwhelming poverty of the age would hang lanterns at various landing points along the river, signaling their availability. As this rudimentary system of prostitution developed, and it is best to stay ahead of its few legal and moral distractors along the way, falling squarely in the hands of Yakuza, who turned it to a multi-billion-dollar business. The industry, floating nature, allowed it to melt into nearly every level of Japanese society. From the highest exotic wish to the lowest, most base perverse, the water trade offering something for everyone. Репетитор по скайпу, Smart Teacher 197.